The average college graduate in 2024 leaves school with a $35,639 liability. Most think the cost is the 6.5% interest rate the government charges. They're wrong. The real cost is over $100,000. Here is the 3-step battle plan to fight back that no one is showing you. If you follow conventional advice, you will spend the next 10 years fighting a battle you are mathematically designed to lose. But if you understand the mechanics of debt triage, timeline engineering, and opportunity cost, you can flip the script entirely. Let's begin with step 1. Triage. We need to find your debt's real weak point. Most people look at their student loan statement, see a number, and accept it as a fact of life. They treat it like the weather, something that just happens to them. But debt is not the weather. It is a contract, and contracts can be renegotiated if you know which levers to pull. The first number we need to confront is 6.53%. According to the U.S. Department of Education, this is the fixed interest rate for direct, unsubsidized loans for the 2024 to 2025 academic year. If you are a recent graduate, this is likely the anchor dragging on your financial life. But the problem isn't just the 6.53%. The problem is how that rate interacts with your life over a decade. Let's introduce Alex to see how this plays out in the real world. Alex is 23 years old, working as a marketing coordinator. It's a good job. According to the National Association of Colleges and Employers Winter 2024 Salary Survey, the median starting salary for a bachelor's degree graduate is roughly $60,000. That is exactly what Alex makes. On paper, Alex is doing everything right. A college degree, a solid entry-level job, a stable income. But every month, Alex gets a notification, a bill for a $35,639 federal student loan. On the standard 10-year repayment plan at 6.53%, that payment comes out to approximately $405 every single month. To Alex, this $405 feels like a tax on existence. It's nearly 10% of their take-home pay after taxes and benefits. It's the difference between renting a nice apartment close to work or commuting 45 minutes from a cheaper neighborhood. It's the reason Alex hesitates to order appetizers at dinner or buy a flight home for the holidays. That 6.53% isn't just a percentage. It's a constant, low-level anxiety. This is where most people get stuck. They see the $405 payment as a permanent fixture, like gravity. They resign themselves to paying it until they are 33 years old. And in the current market environment of 2024, a 6.53% loan for someone with a stable job and good credit is often toxic. Here is the concept you need to understand. The real rate of your debt includes the opportunity cost of not refinancing. We must compare your federal rate to the market rate. Right now, in December 2024, the private refinancing market tells a different story. Analysis from platforms like NerdWallet and Money.com shows that qualified borrowers, people like Alex with a steady $60,000 income and a decent credit score, can qualify for fixed rates as low as 4.5%. Think about that gap. The government is charging you 6.53%. The private market might only charge you 4.5%. That is a spread of over 2%. In the world of finance, a 2% spread is massive. It's the kind of margin that banks build skyscrapers on. Why should you donate that margin to the lender? The decision framework is simple. If your credit score and income allow you to refinance to a rate significantly lower than the federal rate, you must investigate it. This is the first step to freeing up cash. Now I know what some of you are thinking. But what about federal protections? Income-driven repayment? Forgiveness? These are valid questions. If you are struggling to find work, or if you are pursuing public service loan forgiveness, you should absolutely keep your federal loans. Do not refinance. But Alex isn't in that boat. Alex works in the private sector, makes a median salary, and plans to pay this debt off. For Alex, holding on to a 6.53% loan for the sake of protections they will likely never use is an expensive insurance policy. Let's pull up a calculator and look at Alex's actual numbers. From a 6.53% federal loan to a 4.5% private loan. What does that actually save? If Alex stays the course with the federal loan, over 10 years, they will pay roughly $12,900 in total interest. That is nearly $13,000 of labor that vanishes into thin air. Now, Alex logs on to a site like NerdWallet. It takes about 20 minutes to fill out the forms. They upload proof of their $60,000 salary. They authorize a soft credit check, and they get an offer. 4.5% fixed APR for 10 years. On this new loan, the total interest paid over 10 years drops to roughly $8,600. That is a savings of $4,300 just by filling out a form. That's more than a month's salary saved in 20 minutes. The monthly payment also drops from roughly $405 to about $370. That's an extra $35 in Alex's pocket every month, or $420 a year. The abstract fear Alex felt is now replaced by a concrete victory. The enemy has a name, 6.53%, and it has been defeated. Alex has officially triaged the wound. The bleeding has slowed. But we aren't done yet. Saving money is good, but buying back your time is better. Before we move to the attack phase, I want you to pause. Do you actually know your interest rate? Not, I think it's around 6%. I mean the exact decimal point. Go check. If it is above 6% and you have a stable job, you are likely overpaying. Comment your current student loan interest rate below. Is it above 6%? Let's see how much money the lenders are making off this audience. You've triaged the debt. Now for step 2, the attack plan. This is how you stop playing defense and start dictating the terms. Most people think the term of their loan, 10 years, 20 years, is set in stone. They think, I have a 10-year loan, so I will be debt-free in 10 years. This is the passive approach. The bank loves the passive approach. The standard 10-year repayment plan is not your friend. It is designed to be manageable enough that you don't default, but long enough that it maximizes the amount of interest you pay to the lender over time. Banks are in the business of renting money. The longer you keep their money, the more rent you pay. Your goal in the attack phase is to return their rental property as fast as possible, but only under specific conditions. We are going to use a strategy called timeline engineering. This involves making accelerated payments to mathematically alter the payoff date. We aren't just throwing random extra money at the debt. We are calculating the exact impact of every dollar. Let's go back to Alex. Alex has successfully refinanced the $35,639 loan to 4.5%. The new standard 10-year payment is roughly $370 per month. Alex feels better, but they still have a 10-year sentence hanging over their head. They want to be free. They see friends on Instagram traveling, buying condos, living that debt-free life. and Alex feels stuck. Alex looks at their budget. With a $60,000 salary, monthly take-home pay is roughly $3,800 to $4,000 depending on state taxes and benefits. Rent is $1,500. Food, transport, utilities take another $1,000. The loan takes $370. That leaves about $1,000 of margin. Alex decides to get aggressive. They find an extra $200 per month. Maybe they stop ordering delivery apps during the week. Maybe they pick up a freelance gig on Saturday mornings. Maybe they just tighten the grocery budget. Whatever the source, Alex now has a $200 weapon to deploy. The problem is, Alex feels discouraged. A $35,000 mountain of debt feels huge. An extra $200 feels like a drop in the bucket. Why bother? Alex thinks. It's going to take forever anyway. This is where we need to model the math. We need to visualize the impact. Okay, let's put this on a timeline. Here is the standard 10-year sentence. Imagine a bar stretching out 120 months into the future. That's 120 payments of $370. Now, watch what happens when we apply our $200 weapon. Instead of paying $370, Alex sets up an automatic payment of $570. $370 minimum plus $200 extra principal. The math changes instantly. By increasing the payment to $570, that 120-month bar dramatically shortens. The loan is now paid off in just 71 months. That is just under 6 years. Think about that. The original plan was 10 years. The new plan is roughly 6 years. By sacrificing $200 a month, Alex bought back 4 years of their life. That is 4 years of freedom. 4 years of no payments. 4 years where that monthly cash flow belongs to Alex, not the bank. Furthermore, the interest savings compound. On the standard 10-year plan at 4.5%, Alex pays about $8,600 in interest. On the accelerated plan, Alex pays only roughly $4,800 in interest. That is another $3,800 saved on top of the savings from refinancing. Alex is empowered. The feeling of helplessness is gone. The abstract fear has been replaced by a calculator and a plan. They realize they can control their debt timeline. They are not victims. They are engineers of their own financial future. This is the attack plan at its finest. You refinance to lower the cost of the debt, and then you pay extra to shorten the lifespan of the debt. It feels good. It feels responsible. It feels like the smart thing to do. But here's the twist. This entire attack plan, as good as it is, might be a massive mistake. What if investing that extra $200 was the smarter move? What if being debt-free quickly actually makes you poorer in the long run? That's the $100,000 question we answer in step 3. And now, the final and most important step. Step 3. The Freedom Fund. This is the part that separates people who just get out of debt from people who build real wealth. This is the opportunity cost, WAR. We have a cultural obsession with being debt-free. We treat all debt like it's radioactive waste that must be eliminated immediately. We celebrate people who live on rice and beans to pay off their mortgage in 5 years. And emotionally, that makes sense. Debt feels like a burden. Freedom feels like freedom. But emotions are not math. And when you let emotions drive your financial decisions, you often drive right past millions of dollars in future wealth. The emotional desire to be debt-free often leads to a massive mathematical error. overpaying low-interest debt. Here is the simple rule you need to memorize. If your debt's interest rate is lower than the historical average return of the stock market, every extra dollar should go to the market, not the debt. The stock market, specifically the S&P 500, has a historical average annual return of roughly 10% over the last century. This is data from S&P Global. Some years it's up 20%. Some years it's down 15%. But over long horizons, like the 10 years of a student loan repayment, the average hovers around 10%. Now look at Alex's refinanced loan rate. It is 4.5%. This is a simple inequality. 10% is greater than 4.5%. Every dollar Alex uses to pay down the 4.5% loan saves them 4.5% in interest. That is a return of 4.5%. Every dollar Alex invests in the S&P 500 has an expected return of 10%. By choosing to pay off the debt early, Alex is effectively choosing a 4.5% return when they could have a 10% return. They are voluntarily stepping over dollars to pick up pennies. Let's prove it with the numbers. We are going to compare two scenarios for Alex's extra $200 a month over the next 10 years. Scenario A, the debt destroyer. Alex ignores the market. They fear the volatility. They want the guaranteed feeling of zero debt. They execute the attack plan from step 2. They pay $570 a month. The loan is gone in 6 years. For the remaining 4 years of the decade, Alex takes that full $570 and invests it, trying to catch up. Scenario B, the Freedom Fund investor. Alex realizes that 4.5% is cheap money. They pay only the minimum required payment of $370. The loan will stick around for the full 10 years. But Alex takes that extra $200 and sets up an automatic transfer to a brokerage account. They buy a low-cost S&P 500 index fund like Vanguard's VOO or iShares IVV. They do this every single month for 10 years. Let's look at two versions of Alex in 10 years. In scenario A, the debt destroyer is debt-free. That's great. But because they started investing late, their investment portfolio is smaller. They missed the early years of compound growth. In scenario B, after 10 years, the loan is also paid off, just naturally, on schedule. But what happened to that investment account? By investing $200 a month for 10 years at a 10% average return, that money has grown. The compound interest calculator tells us that Alex B now has approximately $41,000 in their investment account. Wait, let's look closer. The total amount of cash Alex contributed was only $24,000. $200 times 120 months. The market generated roughly $17,000 in free money for Alex. Meanwhile, in scenario A, by paying off the loan early, Alex saved about $3,800 in interest. Compare the two numbers. Gain from investing plus $17,000. Gain from prepaying debt plus $3,800. The difference is over $13,000. By choosing the safe route of paying off debt, Alex actually lost $13,000 in net worth. And this gap only widens as time goes on. That $41,000 in Alex B's account continues to compound for the next 30 years until retirement. Even if Alex never adds another penny, that $41,000 could grow to over $700,000 by the time Alex is 60, assuming the same 10% return. This is the opportunity cost war. If you kill your low-interest debt too early, you kill the capital that could have made you a millionaire. Alex has a paradigm shift. The cultural pressure to be debt-free fades away when looked at through the lens of math. Alex understands that true financial freedom isn't just about having zero debt. It's about having assets that work for you. So, what does Alex do? Alex chooses the middle path. They refinance to 4.5% to minimize the waste. But then, they make the minimum payment. They take that extra $200 and automate it into an S&P 500 index fund. They carry the debt, but they build the wealth. This three-step battle plan changes the trajectory of your life. First, we triaged the debt. We exposed the real cost. We realized that 6.53% is an emergency, but 4.5% is manageable. We learned that refinancing is not just paperwork. It's a strategic maneuver to stop the bleeding. If your rate is high, refinance it immediately if you can. Second, we looked at the attack plan. We saw how powerful an extra $200 can be against a high-interest timeline. If you have credit card debt at 20% or a private loan at 9%, you must use the attack plan. Use that $200 weapon to destroy high-interest debt mercilessly. Third, and most crucially, we built the Freedom Fund. We learned that for low-interest debt, anything under 5%, the smartest move is often to pay it slowly. We prioritized investing in assets like an S&P 500 fund over aggressively paying down cheap debt. We saw how investing that $200 created significantly more wealth than using it to pay down a 4.5% loan. Now, here is exactly what you need to do. Immediate. Log into your student loan provider today, right now. Find your exact interest rate. Write it down. Is it 6.53%? Is it higher? Short term. If your rate is above 5 to 6%, spend 30 minutes this week on a site like NerdWallet or Credible. See if you can pre-qualify for a lower refinance rate. It costs you nothing to check, and it could save you thousands. Long term. If your rate is low, under 5%, stop overpaying it. Calculate how much extra you can afford to invest per month. Open a brokerage account and set up an automatic transfer into a low-cost index fund. Let the market do the heavy lifting for you. If this three-step plan gave you clarity, hit the subscribe button because we release data-driven financial plans like this every week. We don't just give you warnings, we give you the math to solve them. Finally, if you know another recent graduate who is stressed about their loans, share this video with them. It could save them thousands of dollars and years of stress. Disclaimer: I am not a financial advisor, and this video is for educational purposes only. All financial decisions should be made with the consultation of a qualified professional. The investment returns discussed are based on historical averages and are not guaranteed. Past performance does not predict future results.